when you stand up and get ready to take a blow, you have the confidence that you can accept the blow.
As a point of interest, none of my men wear protection in the groin. None.
After all, you wouldn't want your attacker to get injured.
That hurt my foot. The team obviously has had a long preseason as every team, and are looking forward to start the league and all the preparation that we have done it, put it into the field. As you know, we'll have some players missing the game still, and but I think overall is something that it has happened during this preseason, and the team has responded very well, and the players have done a very good job, and we hope we can play the same way against San Jose.
Yeah, we're really excited. Obviously, playing our first game of the season at home in front of our fans, beautiful weather, against a really good team that squeezed into the playoffs last year. So, we're really excited. I think we've done a lot of good things in preseason, and we're looking forward to rolling on with it.
All right, we are live. Welcome to Afterburn Soccer Show. It's preseason. It's a new year. Major League Soccer season is just around the corner, and so we're excited to go live here. I'm Nathan Hill, the host of this here hangout time, this little podcast conversation. You can follow me at Nathan J. Hill on Twitter. Our buddy Jose Carmona's with us at El Chico Carmona, back for another. Oh, he's getting his chelada going.
Hey, cheers.
And
Man, go Chile.
Welcome. We're hoping to have Ishmael on. He may be able to join here in a few minutes, but we're really excited to welcome a guest, Arman Kafai, a friend of the show. He's been on way a long time ago. We had him on, and most recently finished up a tenure with FC Dallas as a data consultant with the team. And so going to bring some insight and is also a contributing writer on Backheeled soccer blog. And so check that out if you haven't yet. We'll be getting right into it here because we got excitement. It's been a long off season, and yet there have been some big things that have happened. There have been new signings. There has been formation changes, new partnership with Benfica. Just a lot of exciting things, some of it behind the scenes and some of it that's going to change the way FC Dallas approaches things this year. And we're going to start with the biggest topic of all, and Armand, for you just to share some of your perspective on it, is the signing of Petar Musa, a club record signing, an in-prime, age-wise striker from Benfica. He was sought after by some other teams and other top European leagues, but he chose Frisco, and that was the word from the press conference announcing the deal, was just that he wanted to come to Frisco. And so it's a big day. It's going to open up a lot of possibilities, a striker to go along with Jesus Ferreira up top. But of course, he's an interesting. He's in his prime. Yes, he's 25. He's not the past 30 Frank O'Hara. But that doesn't mean that there's not some question marks about how productive he's going to be. So, Arman, give us a little bit of your take. What do you think Musa's impact is going to be?
So, Petar Musa, you get this guy. First off, let's not question the ambition, because the ambition is incredible. I think prior to the Galaxy's move of Joseph Paintsel, this is, I think, a top 10 record signing in MLS. when it comes to transfer fee. It's huge. It's massive. It's something you wouldn't expect. I think the two teams that broke into the top 10 this past offseason were Chicago signing Ugo Kuipers and FC Dallas signing Petar Musa. It's an incredible, ambitious signing. And they signed him, from Benfica, talent factory, as we know. For a reported fee of 9.7 million plus potential 3 million in add-ons. The thing is, and the thing I want to investigate is, okay, like what does Musa bring, like on a statistical side of things? Like what is kind of the impact he'll bring? And one thing that you kind of notice is if you kind of glance at some of his numbers on FBref or whatever your website of choice, you see like a lot of green on his scouting report. He looks incredible. I mean, some of these numbers on his scouting report are crazy. It's like 99th percentile of everything in like big European competitions. And you have to look deeper into, how many minutes he's played. He didn't play that much for Benfica. Like, I mean, I think it was around 1,500 minutes, give or take, and was largely used as a super sub. And I mean, I'm sure all your listeners know about Benfica. They're a team that's going to be top of the Portuguese league no matter what. Like, they're going to be in the top 3. They're always going to be competing for a title. So most of the time, they're winning games. They're not going to be coming from, behind, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really interesting because Musa's time in Portugal is split between those Benfica moments and also those moments at Boa Vista where he played with former FC Dallas player Reggie Cannon. Yeah. And the difference between the two is super interesting. But, I mean, just to start it off, just kind of blindly looking at the Benfica numbers, you can't really do that. We got to add a little bit more context. We got to add a little bit more of, hey, what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, if you want my initial reaction, I think it's a very ambitious signing. It's, I think, fantastic for the club that they're showing this level of commitment to a player and to Nico Esteves, right? Like this is a commitment to him as well. Like last season, what did they make any really big signings outside of Acer, who came on a free? I don't think so. So, but the question I think comes down to, he did this for a team that was top 3 in Portugal, who was fantastic. Can you do it for a team that may not necessarily be a clear-cut top 3 team within MLS?
So you're saying he's out there in Benfica playing with talent, quality in every position around him, right? And he's coming to FC Dallas, which has this mix of certainly some talent, definite talent, but also some of these positions where you wouldn't mind some more, and especially I think as we start the season off, I don't know that this is the strongest center back lineup in the existence of FC Dallas, especially this season. Some good, some quality there for sure, but he's gonna have to. It'll be interesting to see how he makes that jump, right? I mean, and how he fits in with that, and whether he and Jesus can learn quickly how to partner well together. Yeah.
Well, I think Jose, sorry to interrupt you. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Go ahead. All you.
I just wanted to say that I'm just excited because forget the questions and all that about, you're gonna have concerns anytime you're bringing in a player, especially when you spend a lot of money. But it's his profile. We've been demanding a true center forward, a true 9, someone that's big and physical, someone we haven't had here in quite some time. And on that end, this is the kind of signing that they brought in. We've had a lot of complaints. Say, hey, you're not spending any money. Hey, you're not going out and getting that big center forward that can help us break down those low block teams. And FC short. This is exciting because now you have that presence. It's like last year you saw Tafari and Ibiaga combine, to be our best presence, because of how big they were on set pieces. And it's kind of like little light and say, hey, what if we had a 9 that could do what they do all the time? And so it's exciting on that end. It's something that we're just simply not used to seeing as FC Dallas fans, period. We're just not used to it. So it's something you can get excited about and worry about, and say, wow, our biggest complaint has been answered. There's other complaints, but this is a step in the right direction.
And to your point, Jose, like I think for his career in Portugal, Musa has won, I think on average, per 90 minutes, 4 headers a game. In my article, uh, I don't think anyone in the FC Dallas like attacking front line, if you combine their headers, aerials one, would add up to 4. Like I'm talking with Bernie, with Jesus, with Hader, with Paul, with
Which
Allen, with Ferreira. Like they wouldn't even add up, and that's a
no,
presence
I
that you're getting up top.
exactly, and I think Tafari is like the only dominant aerial presence we have, but that's on the defensive end, not on the offensive side of things. So we always complain about all these crosses. You keep crossing the ball, there's nobody at the end of those crosses. Because because all our attackers are short. And now there is a target out there for those crosses, which is exciting.
Yeah. And heck, there's another that rookie kid Farrington who's flashing some stuff in preseason. It turns out he may be a really, people were like, hey, FC Dallas reached, but maybe if the team already knew that that Musa was their target, which I think they've been working on this for a while. You want someone who could with some size who you can bring in as a backup, to add that extra
People
wrinkle.
were saying Farrington was a reach. Is that like
Yeah, yeah.
That's I mean
Yeah,
Farrington would have gone top 5, if like from the if people are saying they're a reach, they're wrong because he would have been snapped up by the time FC Dallas was on the board back at 15. Like the kid, uh, just around, uh, you know, other draft circles, like from what I've heard, would have been like a top 5 pick.
yeah, but
Like that's he's a good kid.
what's even more exciting about Farrington is that we got him and then we got Musa, and now it makes sense because let's face it, you love to bring in a young player and have somebody ahead of him that he can learn from, that he can learn the ropes from. And this is exciting because you got Musa and now Farrington is technically his understudy. He's his backup, the guy that the kid's gonna be around Musa, learning from him, and you love to see that. You want to have the young players have somebody ahead of them that they look up to, that they say, hey, I'm going to learn from this guy. Ilara Mendy, love that guy because you got all these midfielders get to see how professional this guy is. Everyone talks about his age, and then comes in preseason and just blows everybody out of the water with his fitness and his professionalism, and that's something you need the younger players to see and say, see, that's how you do it. You come in the off season, and the best, most fit player is the oldest guy in the squad, because he's a true professional, and that's what you got to strive for. So I'm excited about what this signings this team is doing is showing to the younger players.
It's a big deal, and of course, when we were all really excited, and the news was circulating about Musa, and then there were some moments there. Where it's like, oh no, here comes someone in France. That you think, oh, is this going to work or is this going to fall apart? And then also at the same time, it leads to this partnership with Benfica, which is a big deal. And I was sure to ask, Dan Hunt at the press conference about how this was different from Bayern, and really specifically, was this going to be a two-way? And because I think it became clear with the Bayern deal that they wanted to get access to some talent from the U.S., from a good academy, but they also wanted to get them at bargain prices, and which is really not maybe in FC Dallas's best interest there. I mean, Chris Richards is the really notable name that came out of that. And we were all hoping that maybe Bayern would send someone from the second team to FC Dallas for a loan, but so that was the big question, and it seems like, at least initially, that's the thought of that this may open the door for some Benfica players who need minutes, who need opportunities or even from other academies that Benfica has around the world. So it could be a real interesting partnership for this team to build upon. And of course, the timing makes sense because of the World Cup on the way, and so it gives Benfica a presence and a way to market and scout and things like that, take advantage of the growth of the game in North America. So so a whole series of things that happened this offseason that weren't really on any of our checklist or our wish list maybe, but seemed to pose well. And also FC Dallas is now using artificial intelligence to scan people for weapons on the way into the game.
Nathan, I'm gonna interrupt a little, only because there's some breaking news and no one's been talking about it. So I just want to bring it up because even in our chats, no one's mentioned the fact that Antonio Carrera has been sent out on loan today to North Carolina FC. Now officially my team I'll be following in the USL Championship. He joins. Get this. Antonio Carrera joins Lamar Batista, who used to play for North Texas, Mikey Maldonado, Shaft Brewer Jr., Ja'Cory Hayes, and Jaden Cervania on
That's
that
an
team.
FC Dallas Mad Libs if I've ever heard one. Right there.
It is. They played in the USL League One last year and promoted themselves up to the USL Championship, and then immediately started signing up all these FC Dallas centric players, which I've been keeping tabs on, and so color me excited. I'll be cheering for these guys this year. North should be North Carolina FC should be like North FCD. That's what it should be. Sorry, you may continue. Just wanted to point that out because I don't see anyone talking about it.
I did see that earlier. There was a little chatter in the Twitter back room about it, and so but it's good. And he can be recalled at any time, but he needs his next challenge. He needs to continue to grow, and just backing up.
It's the right move. It's the right move for him.
Pause is and so Jimmy's back for another year, and so it's a kind of a positive development for Antonio. So I'm as an FC Dallas fan, we've had a whole host of strikers come through, and probably the two that sort of worked out, Blas Perez. You go all the way back to Blas, and I know you can go before that, but then Cobra. It was great, although he was not here super long. But all these other guys that they brought in over the years, Christian Coleman, of course, Franco Jara most recently, just have not been, he just didn't deliver what FC Dallas needed. And so I understand the fans have some skepticism about Musa, that he's expensive, and what if it doesn't work out? But I think the team probably did their homework here, and it's going to be very interesting to see. And the other bonus is it opens up that door if an offer comes for Jesus Ferreira, not to Russia, but to somewhere else. It opens the door for them to think, okay, we could survive Jesus getting transferred, because before Musa's arrival, you really don't have that pedigree of striker yet. Maybe Kumungo will get there. Maybe maybe there's another player, but
we were predictable in the attack last year. Let's face it. It all went through Jesus, and if Jesus, when Jesus scored, the team was likely to win or at least get a draw at minimum. If he didn't score, it was the opposite. It was a loss, or we'd be likely to get a draw. He was the one and only true scoring option we had. We had other secondary options, but none of them were reliable. And adding that second scoring option, hopefully will be the primary option. That opens up things for everybody else. Kumungo is coming along. Now we don't have to say, oh man, Kumungo's got to be that second strike, that second score. No more. Now these younger players don't have to be the guys, backing up Jesus on goals. Now it can be a team effort and not worry about it because you've got your lightning rods for the attack. So very exciting. It should make us less predictable, and let's not forget the change in formation.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what Don Tassili does. He's, I mean, I'm sorry, he's been showing flashes in preseason, and it's just preseason, of course. But you have to think that he's won a starting job over there on as a right wing back based off his performance. And unlike other players that have had excellent preseasons, he's a known quantity. He's a player who we know is talented and simply hasn't showed it until recently. So I'm not saying it's a home run, but I'm saying it's a sign that he's finally getting it, and that's exciting. I think for the team to have a young player that's come through the system suddenly show flashes that maybe he's gonna start hitting on that talent that he's flashed.
Yeah, it's a big storyline there if Dante grabs a starting spot. There were a lot of question marks when he came back after his loan ended last summer, and then and some of these players, of course, SC Dallas has moved on from. It's like, we just don't have the spot for you, or there's not a pathway for you to get minutes or whatever. But Dante, apparently, there is that, and it's continuing. And what's fascinating about it too is because, like, I would say I like Farfan, at left back last season. I thought our right back situation, I thought Giovan Jesus was coming along before he got injured. Was making improvements and adjusting. And Tumasi is a good MLS kind of player, roster piece, and came on strong toward the end of the season. But it always felt like that was a position the team needed to develop on. But here comes with this formation switch. Maybe you turn that into a strength. You have these young players who can be a little more that in between role.
It gives the teams options now because Farfan's strength is defense, and so is Tomasi's. Their strength isn't going forward. They're serviceable, but they're not real threats. And now you've switched the formation, and now you bring in Sealy and Endele, who's the other guy that's been having an excellent preseason.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing Tomasi and Farfan are your defensive options. So now the team, when they go defensive, when they opt to, because I'm sure they'll use both formations. I don't think Farfan is out of a starting job. I think he's gonna be starting some games, and Dante Sealy or whoever is the right wing back will also start some games. And this is great for Farfan. Farfan has been an Iron Man, and both of the last 2 seasons, towards the end of the season, he's just looked worn out because he simply doesn't get any rest. So I'm excited to see how Farfan looks when he doesn't have to play every single match for this team.
Arman, what are your thoughts about this new formation? Does it give you some excitement?
First off, it's like the sexy formation being used in Europe now, right? Like Xabi Alonso and Leverkusen's using a variation of it. We saw the Crew, they won MLS Cup using the 3-4-2-1 to a degree, or wherever the hell you want to call it. Sorry, you can see half my face. I'm trying to adjust as we speak. But essentially, what I think is super interesting, and what I think theoretically should happen, right, is the addition of Petar Musa should open up more things for Jesus. Jesus, as a forward, like his expected assist numbers were really good. They're up there with Cucho Hernandez, who played in the 3-4-2-1 with Columbus last year. So that's only going to open things up, and we know Jesus can score goals. So that's only going to open up things for Jesus, having Musa there. Here's the thing. I think the formation itself is going to be, there's going to be some growing pains, right? Like nothing's always going to be perfect. You're going to be messed up. We saw in Columbus defensively for the first, I think 7 to 8 games last season, they were rough. And they acquired a couple of pieces. Adminson from New York City FC, he became the left center back. They got Rudy Camacho from Montreal. They kind of stabilized that back line, established who they were going with, and kind of went from there. FC Dallas, if you kind of think about it, has been kind of building, I don't know if it's on purpose, but like Columbus. Okay, so what, the projected left center back is what, Junko, right? That's a former left back. You have a strong midfielder there that can retain the ball like Darlington Nagbe in Acer. And they're both, on the older age. And I think I was looking at the stat that Ilarmendi and Nagbe were amongst one of the top people in retaining the ball under pressure. you have a young guy next to Acer, which I don't know if it'll be Paxton the first few weeks because he's been out, but whoever kind of covering ground. You have the new fullbacks. You have a strong forward up top. That's Cucho for Columbus. For FC Dallas, it's the investment in Musa. So I mean, I know as someone like watching the game, it's you can make a very strong argument that FC Dallas is one of the most interesting teams coming into MLS this season. Big name signing, new formation, play another a great manager in Nico. And guys, like let's not forget, like that's without Alan Velasco. And that's a guy that, let's say you sell Jesus, he can just, and if he's healthy, he slots right into that role that Jesus would occupy. So you
Well,
almost don't even miss a beat.
actually, what I was going to say is if Velasco returns, your top three would be Musa, Jesus, and Velasco. So in reality, if Jesus leaves, it would actually be Bernie who would then slide in there, and that's still a sexy looking attack any way you slice it. And I want to add something that no one's really talking about. Um, don't forget that Ilara and Fraser both joined mid-season last year,
100%, Jose. I was about to say that.
and
100%.
and you have to think, what if that was their usually players when they come in mid-season they struggle. What if what we saw is two players that are struggling, and if that's Ilara struggling and now he's got a full preseason under his belt, wow, the potential for that midfield is going to be insane. I mean, Fraser has actually looked way better than he did last year. He's looked big, physical, certainly a lot more fire than what I saw last year. And that's just a fact of, hey, he's settled in now. He's got a preseason under his belt. So I'm excited for the players that joined midseason, seeing what they do now that they have a full preseason with the team. And it's just a real time to get excited for this team. It's got potential. We still have the concerns about injuries and stuff like that, but that's not something that we need to worry about. Let's see what this team can do. The potential is there for this team to be something special, at least something we haven't seen in a while from in Texas, in North Texas. So
it is exciting. I mean, they're hoping to build on the defense and just add that attacking presence. It's just to get over the
one last thing, Nathan, because I know you do want to wrap it up. I want to say that yes, we still have the same concerns in the back line that we had last year, but I want to point out that there was no differential in goals allowed the first two seasons that Nico managed this team. They had like the same goals allowed both seasons, and the big concern was adding defensive center back on there, and I'll tell you right now that I think we've got an upgrade over Martinez. Uh, it's not what we asked for, but I think this back line is actually better than last year's back line. The only problem is the fact that they're going to a three-man back line that brings back the concern that we don't have enough defenders. So, but I actually think this is a better back line than last year's.
All right. Oh, that's going to be fun. Yeah.
Still depth concern though.
We're going to wrap the show up as my night's just beginning, and but it's the beginning of the conversation too. FC Dallas welcomes San Jose on Saturday. It's going to be an exciting one. It's the season's underway. Actually, I guess the last night Miami took care of Real Salt Lake in Miami. I saw that move by Messi where he literally dribbled the ball over the injured player. Like he just scooped it up. It's just like this that should be illegal.
I saw the same. I saw the same Miami team that we played in Leagues Cup. Honestly, that back line is a joke. I have no clue how RSL didn't score any goals on those guys. If that's FC Dallas, we're shipping 4 goals on those guys. All those turnovers, unreal. Watching RSL just basically unable to hit anything.
Well, all right. So as we close, predictions for Saturday for FC Dallas. Keep in mind that FC Dallas and San Jose have played to a lot of draws of these past few seasons. So, that in its opening day, both teams are going to be a little rusty. It'll be nerves and stuff. It's hard. A draw is very much within the realm of possibility, but I also think those draws hurt FC Dallas, especially dropping points at home. They really need to get things started. So I'm going with a 2-1, 2-1 win at home.
Arman?
Well, look, I'm gonna abstain because these two guys, Nico and Lucci, were two guys I've worked under. I'm honest. I'm rooting for a good game, so it should be interesting. I mean, Dallas down 3 DPs. I think the guys that San Jose brought in, like a couple of them, like Amal Pellegrino, they're amazing winger they got from a Norwegian club. He's not going to be in. I think it's going to be a typical like first game of the season. It's going to be kind of sloppy, kind of messy. A new formation with FC Dallas. Some players missing for San Jose, but I hope it's a good game. The weather will be nice. So that's my unbiased.
That's fair.
Right
That's
there.
fair.
My prediction's 1-0 FCD. It's not gonna be pretty, and but I think the new formation will pay dividends, and you'll see, excuse me, you'll see either a set piece goal or one of the wing. It'll come from the wings. Either way, it's gonna be one of those where FC Dallas scores probably late, and we're basically complaining most of the time watching, saying, because let's face it, you're gonna miss not having Jesus and Musa out there.
Yeah, sure.
But I think the team is solid enough. I have more faith in FC Dallas having a good first week than San Jose, who, by the way, I feel bad for Lucci because them selling Cade. Is it Cade Cowell? Is that did I say his name right? Craig?
Yep.
It just feels like when Dallas went and sold Gresso on him, so it just feels that way. It's like, oh hey, we're going to take your this kid who's probably on the verge of being a star for your team, and we're just going to sell him. And sorry, Lucci, sorry, that's how it feels like to me.
Well, let's leave it there. Thanks everybody for joining us. It looks like we had some streaming issues. That's why we do this preseason thing. And you got to work out. You got to work it out. You get working on the field and go back and look at the tape. Anyway, we'll get to it. And of course, we'll be back on Monday evenings, unless otherwise noted. And you can follow us at Afterburn.Soccer. Thanks, Arman. Thanks for being with us. Thanks, Jose.
Yeah, Arman.
Let's go to
guys.
Dallas. All right. Good
Thanks,
night.
guys. Go NCD.